Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest 360 webinar, new features webinar. So this is the September edition. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Justin, and I'm one of the Simple Fund 360 product managers. And I'll be taking you through today's features, which we will cover, and I'll display to you. And I'll do a quick demo as to what we'll be covering for today. Now, just hopefully everyone can see the slides moving. If not, just let me know. Now, just some housekeeping over here. Today's session will be recorded. So just in case if you need to head off for some urgent meeting, don't worry about that. We will have this session recorded and you will be able to get a recording as well. Now, for all those of you attending here, you will get an email once the recording is available. So that will be available to you. And it's also available on our BGL YouTube channel and also on the BGL community page. Attendees are currently on mute. So if you have any questions, there is a Q&A panel. So feel free to type in the questions in there. I have a couple of my colleagues sitting in, so they would be able to basically see those questions that you have and basically answer any questions that you have along the way. Now, what I'm going to do with this session is I'll just continue going on with the webinar. So just to prevent any background disturbances, those questions will be in the Q&A panel. Now, very quickly moving on to the next slide over here, just to basically show you what we'll be covering for today. The biggest one for this September release is our practice management program or function. So this is version 2. We've done an upgrade on this. So I'll very briefly go through and show you what are the changes that have been made and how you can basically sync your contacts from one practice management software to all of the BGL suites that you have. Or if, let's say, you don't have zero practice management, that's fine as well, and you have multiple of our BGL suites, you can sync your contacts across the different products as well. So I'll go through and show you how that's done. Next, we'll basically cover what are the features and improvements that have been done in the last release or last sprint. And finally, we'll go through what are the features that will be coming soon towards the end of this financial year, towards the end of the year. And we'll wrap it up with any questions that you may have. Okay. So just in case you are just joining in, just letting everyone know that you're currently on mute. So if you have any questions at any point in time, just feel free to type into the Q&A panels in there. Okay. All right. So the first one is on zero practice management. Now I'll show you on screen in a moment, but just showing you a quick screenshot. This is basically how you would basically go into and access your zero practice manager. Now I'm going to open up the software now. Let me find where that is. Is this one? Yep. Okay, so once you're logged in into Simple Fund 360 or Cash 360 or even Simple Invest 360, depending on which products you have, at the top right over here, there is this what we call App Switcher, and there is this integrations button in here. Clicking on that will bring you to what we call the integration screen. And this is where if you have Zero Practice Manager, you can basically click on the view, and this will bring you to what we call the practice management setup. Now, just for these webinar's purposes, we have synced all the product suites to zero, but just in case you're not aware, what we're going to be doing is there will be a webinar that BGL will be hosting together with Zero, which will actually go through an end-to-end process. And I'll touch on that after I cover this particular session over here. Now, so I'm going to assume that all the product suites have been linked. As you can see, all the words are active over here, and that's great. Now, just in case if you would like contacts to receive any important notifications or alerts, you can add them towards the bottom over here. So you just type in your email and then click add, and you'll basically be added in here. You have the option to add up to 10 contacts. So just something to be mindful of. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you in the view client and contact list. Now, the whole purpose of this practice management software is you will probably have a source of truth in one of your products. And what you want to do is you want to probably link and sync all your contacts or your clients to all the various product suites that you have. So I'll just very quickly explain. On the left-hand side over here, there are different statuses, and I'll explain to you what they are and how you could go about to utilize them. So on the left-hand side, the status, the link status, just to show you can click on that, and that will filter in the main screen over here, all the contacts or your clients that are linked to the different product suites. So you have the name. In this case, it could be a company name or a trust or even an individual, which I'll show you in a moment. It'll explain to you what the business structure is in here, the last modified date, and the status, whether it's linked or not linked, or as I'll go through in a moment, it will be whether it's a review data or not. And it will tell you which products you are synced between. So in this case, it's Simple Fund 360, and it's been synced with 0. And so on and so forth. You have Simple Invest 360 synced with 0. Okay. Now, if you don't have 0, you could also be syncing between CAS and Simple Invest. So that's also possible as well. Now, the link is pretty self-explanatory. That's just basically showing you all the details and contacts of clients that are linked between the two softwares. Now, what I'll show you is basically the not link section. So you will probably see majority, if it's the first time that you're setting up, majority of your contacts are probably not synced between the different products. So in this case, you will see this individual over here, Emily, for example, is not linked, and this person is found in 0. So if you would like to link this person to, let's say, for example, CAS 360, all you need to do is just tick the checkbox, and you have the option to basically add to CAS 360, or you can add to Simple Invest 360, depending on which is your need. So you can choose from the drop down, you can add as contact, or if in Simple Invest 360, you can choose to add as a client or a contact. Now, what I'm going to show you as well is I'm just going to scroll further towards page 4. Now, all you saw probably earlier was that all these contacts were in 0. Now, if let's say you don't have 0 and you have all the BGL product suites, you can basically link, for example, in this case, Simple Invest 360, you can link them to CAS 360 if you want to as well. Or if you have 0 and you realize that this contact is, or this client is not in 0, you have the option to add to Zero Practice Manager as a client as well. So it's a two-way syncing process. So that's what we have, and that's what's available for you. So just so that you are aware of these features in here. Now that's link and not link. Now the next one would be review data. Now review data is essentially some of your primary contact details in there are matched, but some of your probably your secondary contact details are not matched. So in this case, for example, I'll click into this and I'll show you what I mean by that. So on the left-hand side over here, this CAS 360, you have the client's details, and in the middle here, you have 0, and you have the client's details as well. You can see in this case, the name, you have Big Savings Bank Proprietary Limited. Those details are matched. So those are your primary contact details. You have your phone number and your company, excuse me, your company number as well. Now, probably the main thing that is not matched at this point, which requires you to review, is the physical and postal address. So in CAS 360, you don't have a physical address, but in 0 you do. And in postal address, you have that in CAS 360, but you do not have that in 0. So you have the option over here, depending on where your source of truth is. If your source of truth is 0, what you want to do is over here, you can say select the data from Zero Practice Manager. So what will happen is then CAS 360 will automatically have those details updated for you. Okay. Now, just to show you that you have the option to go through one by one and update them manually in that sense, excuse me, in that sense. Or at the top over here, you have to select all data from, and you can choose to select either from CAS 360 or Zero Practice Manager. And what that does is any of the data that you need to review, you'll basically transfer the data and sync based on where you're trying to get the data from. Okay. Now, just going back to the client contact list. So that's review data. And the next one on the left hand here, I'm going to select review duplicates. So duplicates just basically mean that you have more than one details, contact or client of the same nature in one of the products. So in this case, we have Simple Invest 360. You can see the toggle at the top here. There is a number 1. So this is to indicate to you that there are duplicates of the same contact, or in this case, the same firm or same fund in Simple Invest 360. Now you have the option to make a primary and sync, just in case you would not want to delete them just yet, but that's just an option for you. What you can also do is from here, you have the option to basically add the contact to 360 if you want to, or add to Practice Manager if you would like to add to your Zero Practice Manager as well. So those are the options in here. And what I'm going to show you is I'm just going to quickly go into Simple Invest 360. And I'm just going to open up the entity selection screen just to show you that we can see that there are duplicates of, in this case, the Bored Apes NFTs Proprietary Limited. So this is just to show you that there are two of the same company names in there, and it's basically for you to work out which one is a duplicate or whether it's not a duplicate in that sense. Okay. So let me move. Let me see. So just coming back to the screen. Now going back in here. So that's just reviewing your duplicate data in there. Now, suggested match. This is where majority of your details are not matching, but we have high confidence that they are the same contact in the different product suites. So for example, I'm selecting Jeevan in here. He's a client, or he's an individual in Cash 360, and he's also another person in Simple Invest 360. That's basically the only real common theme in here, and apart from his email. So we don't have his physical address, we don't have his postal address, and neither his date of birth. So we believe that this would be the suggested contact that you could sync. But again, it's coming in here for each and every one of you to review the data. And if you're happy or if you're satisfied with that, then you can basically select to sync all from whether it's Cash 360 or Simple Invest 360. Just scrolling at the bottom over here, just in case if you're not sure where this contact is sitting in, at the bottom of the screen here, we have relationships, and you'll be able to see that this person is a shareholder in Bayside Club Proprietary Limited in Cash 360, and he's a director in this particular company as well in Cash 360, and he's a shareholder in both Cash 360 and also in Simple Invest 360. So that's just basically giving you an overview of where this contact is sitting in both products. Okay. So that's basically the status function at the side over here. Now I'm just going to go through very quickly in terms of products, not in Cash 360. Now, what that means is that these are the contacts or clients that you have that are not in your Cash 360 product. So the system or this product is smart enough to filter out and remove any contacts that do not fit into Cash 360. For example, you can't basically put an SMSF in Cash 360, so we have removed SMSFs from this list in here. Okay, so you have trust. In this case, you can see 0. If you like to add it into Cash 360, again, you have the option to add into Cash 360. Now, just bear in mind that you can also do it in bulk. So you can add all of them in Cash 360 as a client or contact as well. So just in case if you're wondering if you need to do it one by one, you have the option to do it in bulk. Next would be not in Simple Fund 360. So you can see in this case, we have SMSFs that's been created in Zero Practice Manager. Again, you have the option to tick and then add it into Cash 360 or in Simple Fund 360. Okay. And similarly with not in Simple Invest 360, you have those options in here as well. And lastly, if it's not in Zero Practice Manager, for example, these individuals or companies, you have the option to tick them. Sorry, this is because it's suggested match. For example, John Jones, you can tick them and just add it to Zero Practice Manager as a client. Okay. On the left-hand side over here, the rest of the filters, I won't be really going through them. It's pretty much self-explanatory, just basically highlighting or filtering out what the business structures are and when was the last modified date for them. Okay. Going back to the PowerPoint slides. So as I was saying earlier, we do have a webinar that we're working jointly with Zero. So that's on the 11th of October at 11 a.m. So sign up for that, it's free. what we'll do is it will be a more in-depth coverage. It will be an end-to-end on how you could sync your data and how basically you set up the zero practice management software in there. Now, obviously, what we're trying to do is we're trying to tailor for different types of practice management software. So obviously coming soon would be APS, Carbon, Access Group, which is formerly Sage, and also my Upgrade Soft. Okay, so those are coming soon and they will be available to you shortly. Okay, moving on to the next slides. This is on features and improvements. So we've made some changes to fund dashboard where we now have a new member section and the labels are now displayed. Now, let me see if I can go into let me log out from here. Let me log into another firm. And I'll show you what are the changes that we've done. So basically what we've done is we've made a filter and it's a bit easier for everyone to see some of the member details, such as your contribution caps, your pension details, and also your T-bar balances. So let me log in. It's taking a while to load. And going here. And see this. Let's select that test fund. So in your fund dashboard, so what you will see in here is just scrolling down over here. This is the new area over here in the member section. So you would have the details such as your contribution caps. It will give you a quick indicator as to whether it's below or above the cap. It will tell you what the contributions that you've put in and what the cap is for each individual member. Okay. And it will tell you as well if you're over the cap in this case for Mary Jones, and I'll explain to you why it's showing over the cap. With pension cap as well, or basically whether you've met your minimum. So in this case, we've seen that the paid amount for the pension payments for in this particular person over here is only $1,250. And the minimum is basically 6,560. So it's basically clearly under. So it's just a quick snapshot for you to be able to see that, oh, we need to basically draw out more money from this pension. And the T-bar cap as well, you have the cap in here and what the current balance is for the member. So it's just a quick snapshot in here for you. Just in case if you want to have more details on what each individual breakdown is, you can click on the link over here and it will basically take you to each different screen. So let's say if I click on contribution caps, it will bring me to my contribution cap screen. And now it'll tell you why this is over, because the total super balance as at 30th June 2021 exceeds the general transfer balance cap of 1.6 million. Okay, so that's why you are basically not able to put in any non-concessional contribution. You can see the total super balance is 3 million in here as well. Okay, so that's just a quick and easy breakdown of how you could see those member details in here. I believe this is a wish list item, so it's one of the quite highly requested item in here. The other changes that we've done as well is that now at the top of your screen here, we've added labels. We display the labels that you've added. So in this case, I've put a label under Justin. So let's say I'm managing a couple of the funds, and you basically make it easier for you to identify that this fund is managed under the Justin's label. Okay. So that's in this case, the fund dashboard. Next one is the bank statements report. We now support term deposits to 60800 accounts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on screen as well. So that's basically in the report screen. So I'm searching bank statement reports. So I'm just going to add it onto the pack on the right-hand side over here. Now there is this setting option where you can basically select the account in here. So it now supports a term deposit account. I can click on that and save. And let's say I'm just going to preview that and it will just give me a bank report on my term deposit. So that's over here. Okay, so that's available now as well from the 8th of September release. Okay, going back to our PowerPoint slide. Some corporate actions that we've done are VME Resources Limited and Unity Group. I believe they were merger corporate actions, so that's now added. And we've also added the foreign corporate action for Alphabet, which is the parent company for Google, and there was a 20-for-1 share split. So that's now available in there as well. Rental property statement, farming properties have now been added. And the last one we have here is contact screen, which is basically we've added the Find Matches button. And what this button does is it displays a list of contacts with identical names. Now I will just quickly go in here. So that's under settings, and you have the contacts button. And that's where you'll be able to see the Find Matches button at the top left over here. Now, what it does is if you click on it, it's just basically it makes it easier for you to find any duplicate names. So I think it's just loading. So obviously we have Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura over here. So it's just making it a bit easier for you to identify who your contacts are being duplicated. So I'm just clicking on it just to show you that by clicking on it, it gives you a quick snapshot of the information of the individual. So in this case, you can see, just to highlight to you the difference, the date of birth is 13th of October 1985. And the second person has, I believe, has a different birth date. So it may so happen to have a person with the same name. So what you might want to do is you might not want to delete because they're two totally different persons who just so happen to have the same name. Obviously this is test database, so we just have some another 89 matches of contacts in there, but that's available for you to make it a bit easier for you to find any duplicates in there and tidy up your contacts database if you need to. Okay, moving on to the next slide, we have Superstream Changes. We've added what we call a contribution summary report. And in addition to that, the dashboard now displays what we call the last updated date and the total for all members. Just going to bring up the screen as well. So this is on the left-hand panel, you have Connect and you go to Superstream Dashboard. And once you've selected the fund, this is under the Fund View toggle. Okay, so what we've done in here is basically put in what we call the Superstream contribution report. So you can easily generate the report from here rather than going to the report screen. So it just makes it a bit more efficient for, I guess, clients and users to prepare such report in here. Okay. And also what we've done is to make it easier for everyone to keep track as to whether you've received your Superstream via if you receive your contributions via Superstream. We've also put it in here, the last updated date. So that gives you a quick snapshot, a quick overview as to when was the last time you received the contributions from a Superstream standard message. Okay. The other one that I wanted to basically do a quick recap on is now in the global view, is only because we've just seen a couple of, I guess, comments and support calls coming in. We've made some changes and improvements into the rollover section under the action required. So you are now able to see the breakdown on an individual member basis. So you have the individuals in here. It will tell you the last update date, whether the transaction is a roll-in or roll-out. And the days outstanding is basically to indicate to you how many days has passed since you last received, since you first received the contribution or the rollover message, apologies. What the transaction status is, so you know where it's currently sitting at, and the external party as well. Now, just in case some of you are not aware, at the top over here, you can also filter or search by the external party. So for example, if you want to search to see whether you have received any release authorities from ATO, you can just type in ATO over here, click on that filter function, and then you'll be able to see it will automatically filter all these for you. Okay. So those are the changes that we have made. Just a recap, if you do know this feature, that's great. But just in case if you are not aware of this, this is handy for you to make it a bit easier for you to manage your rollovers. Okay. All right, moving on to the next slide. So that's just a recap, just to mention about the rollover dashboards. And the last one in this case is we're going to be touching on solely on Simple Invest 360. This is in relation to the notes of financial statements. I believe this is one of the highly requested wishlist items, we've now added a liability account to be added in the notes to financial statements. So let me bring up this screen. Let me see, where is this at? Okay, so I'm going to this entity over here. Now this will be under the reports section. So I'll close that down. And over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for notes to financial statements, and I'm going to put it on the right-hand side over here. Now over here, you have the option for settings, and this is where you have the option to now select which liability account you would like to add into the notes of financial statement. Now, before you are able to do this, just bear in mind that this is also to be controlled and enabled from the Badger screen first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go into Badger screen. I'm just going to click on that link and you open up a Badger screen for me. Now, this is basically the Simple Invest badge. And just scrolling down over here towards Include Notes section, just almost towards the very bottom of the screen, there is liabilities and notes. By default, it should be automatically ticked for you. But just in case, for some reason, you're not able to prepare the liabilities in the notes to financial statements, just have a look into the badges section. This checkbox should be ticked. Okay, once that's ticked, just make sure you save those changes. And once that's done, you can choose which liability accounts you have. I'm happy with these two options over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly prepare a PDF report of this. From here, I'm just going to quickly scroll down and there should be a section under notes, I believe 9 and 10. Yep. So notes 9 and 10 amounts owing to other persons, and note 10 is investment loan. So that will now be displayed in here for you. Okay, so those are the changes that we've done for Simple Invest 360. And last but not least, under the we've moved the reserve section in the appropriation statement. Sorry about that, tongue twister there. Okay, next slide, we'll touch on what are the features that will be coming soon. So first one will be PAYG amendments. That's something that we'll be looking at very shortly, and the ability to automatically calculate the tax offsets. Okay, so that's coming soon for you. One of the next highly requested feature will be the digital signing of custom documents, an improvement to this area. So currently, just to give you a quick overview of what the current, I guess, process is, you would have to manually add custom documents in your third-party custom documents into a separate screen. And basically then, it's just uploading each time you need to digitally sign a custom document. So the improvement that we're trying to do is have this all in one report pack. So you don't have to continuously upload the documents each time that you need it to be digitally signed. So we will be trying to improve this feature where everything is in one report pack, and then you can just digitally sign that document at one go. Next one is integrating with digital search. That's a crypto data feed. So that's something we're looking at in the near future. And automating end of financial year distributions receivable and accruals. Some compliance changes in terms of COVID-19 recontribution, that's coming soon as well. And obviously supporting more distribution tax data. And lastly, Simple Invest 360, we will be, or the team's currently working to get the company tax returns out. Okay, I'm just wrapping up the questions. I think some of them are being answered by my colleagues. But once again, thank you all for your time. I will be stopping the video at this point in time. All right, have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye.